Hi, I'm Laura Hamilton from the Christian Health Science Institute, and in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to reveal to you a simple, biblically accurate trick that will allow you to look 10, 15, or even 20 years younger almost overnight, where you're going to go from this to this. Yes, within 24 hours of applying this one simple trick, you'll actually notice a tangible positive difference. And in just 7 days, you'll start to see the beginnings of a complete youthful makeover. I guarantee you won't be able to hide your delight when you take a look at the mirror in just 2 weeks, because that is when the total transformation of yourself will be complete. Yes, in just 14 days, you'll giggle with glee as you run your hand down your chin and realize it feels as soft as the skin of a newborn baby. Just look at another lady who tried this. She went from looking like this to end up looking like this. In fact, your husband won't be able to help himself from staring at your supple, smooth, and silky skin. Don't be surprised if you noticed a few extra heads turning when you walk around in the streets, or if everyone in your congregation starts wondering if you got a facelift, because you're going to look that much younger almost overnight. And you'll be able to do this using an all-natural method. So this means there's no need for invasive surgery, no need for expensive beauty creams and lotions, and no need to spend hours applying a complicated makeup routine. How do I know this works? Well, after treating more than 18,476 women in 17 countries, our team of faith-based international scientists and researchers have formulated a 100% natural deep tissue cream treatment that has been clinically tested and proven to repair, rejuvenate, and restore your skin's natural beauty at the cellular level. The reason why this is so incredibly powerful is because this age-reversing trick that we recently rediscovered has its origins deriving from the biblical Garden of Eden itself. I'll explain more about that in a moment. The result? After just 2 weeks, over 90% of our patients have rejuvenated or completely restored the collagen levels in their skin. They have also seen significant reduction, fading, and even completely eliminating deep tissue wrinkles and crow's feet. Don't just take our word for it. Our method is backed by the world's most credible academic journals. The best thing is, the method I'm about to show you is at such a low cost that it might as well be free. All you need to do is watch this and follow the instructions. You will see and feel a reduction of fine lines and wrinkles, averaging 50% in the space of 7 days. This treatment has allowed our patients to replenish depleted collagen, rejuvenate skin cells, moisturize their skin, heal with incredible antioxidant properties that cut down on the root cause of skin aging, and completely avoids risky surgeries. If this sounds like something you'd like to learn more about, then let me introduce you to one of our private consultants, Leslie Parrish, who will explain further. She's actually the woman who helped us rediscover this biblically accurate youth-enhancing miracle treatment. And her story is so sensitive and so deeply personal that we simply had to have her introduce it. So without further ado, take it away, Leslie.
Skin topography analysis of an oil-water emulsion containing 10% of the hexapeptide on healthy women volunteers reduced wrinkle depth up to 30% upon 30-day treatment. International Journal of Cosmetic Science. Stimulates fibroblast, which produces the collagen and elastin fibers, making the skin more elastic and less wrinkled. American Journal of Infection Control. Shown to restore delayed skin hypersensitivity reactions and interleukin-2 production, and at high doses it was shown to stimulate T helper cell. Sultan Qaboos University Medical Journal. The results showed that the elastic properties of skin in the MDK group remained unchanged over the 3-year period, but decreased in the placebo group. Journal of Thrombosis and Hemostasis. The most important antioxidants because of their ability to penetrate the skin through their small molecular weight. International Journal of Cosmetic Science. Treatment for 4 weeks resulted in significant improvement in fine wrinkles, mottled hyperpigmentation, and roughness as observed in their earlier study. American Society for Dermatologic Surgery. Guaranteed results. Biblical Garden of Eden. Age-reversing trick makes you look younger overnight? Hello, my name's Leslie Parrish, and I'm a private consultant at the Christian Health Science Institute. We are a Christian-focused medical research foundation, and we're 100% funded by public donations. So this means we do not accept donations, grants, or contributions from pharmaceutical companies, the beauty industry, nor are we controlled by lobbying groups inside the government. That is why we're one of the few truly independent organizations that is completely free to provide you with unbiased and accurate information. I've spent years working in this industry, from chemical research and development, marketing, production, and I understand more than almost anyone in this country how much these companies exploit women's insecurities in order to sell overpriced chemical products that often contain nasty side effects that are barely mentioned. Let me reveal to you a one-of-a-kind miracle age-reversing treatment that's going to completely transform your appearance, your body, and your health almost overnight. Not only is it backed by ironclad science, it's also the exact secret method that was used by the memorable women of biblical times. In fact, it's been said that its origins were derived from the Garden of Eden. It's also known as the Fountain of Youth method and has been passed down since ancient times from generation to generation by women in Israel, Palestine, and Egypt. And when we discovered that women as varied as Delilah from the Bible and Queen Cleopatra of Egypt herself had used it, we knew we had to share it with the world. What if you could reclaim your skin's natural, God-given, radiant glow basically overnight? Erase bags and wrinkles under your eyes? And roll back years of sun and genetic damage to your skin and muscles? And bring balance to both dry and oily skin types? Without harsh chemicals? Without invasive or risky surgery? And without purse-draining and time-consuming makeup routines? So that within just 2 weeks, you'll actually look 10, 15, or even 20 years younger? How do we know this to be true? Here at our institute, we've already walked 18,476 women through our biblical age-reversing natural regimen with, are you ready to hear this? A 90% success rate. This year, we're on track to reach 40,000. That is why we are absolutely confident that this method works and will work for you. You'll have actual verifiable results within just 14 days, without risky and painful surgery, without needle injections, and without expensive beauty products. So if you're with me watching this right now, I want you to quickly do me one small favor, just really quickly. As soon as this presentation ends, I want you to go ahead, take a picture of yourself. If you've got a recent picture you took this year, use it. But if you don't, make sure you take a photo today after this presentation. I want you to mark today's date on it, and then make it your before picture. Really, take a look at it. Live in honesty with yourself and be comfortable with what you see. And I want you to imagine yourself what you'd look like if you looked 5, 10, 15, or even 20 years younger in only just 2 weeks. Before I continue, I want to let you know that we're a non-denominational organization, and I support all my brothers and sisters in Christ. But as a fellow Christian, I need to do my duty for the Lord. That is why I need to spread the word to as many people as I can. And when I'm not, I conduct myself as a living testimony to Him. I might not like saying this, and some ladies might not love hearing it, but this stuff matters. In fact, according to the Bible, in 1 Corinthians 6:19, it says that, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own." That is why you must take care of your physical body, not only for your self-confidence, but also because it is required by the Bible for your spiritual well-being. I want you to imagine that after picture 2 weeks from now, with real improvement in the quality of your skin, faster than anything you've used before. Now, in order for you to understand the secrets I'm talking about here, I need for you to know my story. It's a story that starts with my husband's infidelity. It was a degrading experience that cut to the core of who I was. But that pain triggered me to embark on a life-changing journey. It was a journey only God's Word could have led me to and lead me through. My husband Jim and I have been married for more than 25 years. And I was dumb enough to think that we were truly happy. We had arguments like every couple, and there were times I just wanted to scratch his eyes out. But there was a serious problem that was gradually ripping us apart. You see, my husband had the wandering eyes problem. And as the years passed and I started to get older, his eyes started to wander further away from me. I must have had half a heart attack the morning that first permanent deep wrinkle appeared on my forehead, like a black mark I couldn't wash away. I was mortified when I saw the first crow's feet develop at the corners of my eyes. So like most women would, I tried my best to fix it on top of my daily prayers. In fact, over that 4-year period, I must have spent thousands trying to restore my flagging self-respect. I tried everything ranging from miracle anti-wrinkle creams and puffy eye bag removers to face massaging devices that I bought off late-night infomercials, to high-end facial cleansing products recommended by beauty consultants at the department store, to Japanese skin smoothing soap made from green tea. It seemed that every month some company was coming out with a new miracle cure, and I tried them all. I researched and read reviews, and each time I was convinced that this was it. This was the miracle cure I had been looking for that would solve my problem. And every time I was disappointed. And while I was spending month after month trying new products and wading through month after month of failure, Jim was drifting further and further away from me, laughing less at my jokes, getting more snappy and frustrated with me, taking every excuse to go out by himself. This man I loved, the Army veteran who was quick with a laugh, fiercely ambitious and positive, a kind mentor to any young mind that sought his advice, and a passionate follower of Christ. He was fading away right in front of me, like a dream you can't quite remember in the morning, and I blamed myself. I knew he had to be seeing the creams and powders piling up in the bathroom. I felt like I was failing him, because despite everything I tried, every day that passed, my wrinkly skin and sagging appearance was slowly getting worse. And some point along the way, I realized that it had been too long since I'd last been intimate with my husband. Had I been so vain, so obsessed over finding a way to rescue my own flesh, that I had lost sight of the things that were really important? Now me. I'm obsessed with the idea of improvement. I grew up poor as desert dirt, and my whole life I followed the teachings of Christ, so I would reach higher and be better. This wasn't any different. I had the whole thing planned, a candlelit dinner waiting for him when he got home, fried onions, rare steak, and I made a great one, steamed broccoli and lemon, and a rye whiskey, all meticulously prepared. Our little nest was spotless, and me? I was wearing a low-cut dress he'd bought for me just before I first noticed those crow's feet. I remembered asking him if it was super sexy, and he laughed that infectious laugh of his and said that I made it look super sexy. But you know the saying, if you want to make the Lord laugh, tell him your plans. So naturally the phone rang, and he called to say he had to work late and didn't know when he'd be home. As I changed out of that sexy little red dress, I tried to ignore the growing number of wrinkles on my body, and were those bags under my eyes? My Lord, when did those show up? I tried not to think about it and curled up with a book until he got home. I must have fallen asleep on the sofa, because that's where I woke up the next morning. I'm not sure what time he finally got home, but it must have been late. The last time I looked at the clock, it was a little past 2. And you know what I was dumb enough to think? Poor thing. They worked him so hard, but I tried to be upbeat and planned to try again. Next time he wouldn't have to work late, and we'd have a long overdue magical evening together. My next opportunity didn't arise for 2 weeks. He was tired again when he got home, but that had been the usual for a while now. I ushered him into the dining room and rubbed his shoulders as he sat, told him not to worry about a thing. I tried to hide my disappointment when he didn't react at all to the fact that I was wearing his favorite dress, the one he'd picked out himself and told me I looked so good in. Dinner was awkward and silent. He spoke to me in these simple 1 or 2 word sentences, sometimes not even that, just grunts or nods. He seemed distracted, and I was devastated, but about 2/3 of the way through the meal, he excused himself, got up, and went to the bathroom. He hadn't been gone more than a minute when an alert sounded on his phone. Oh no, I thought, my heart sinking. My first thought was that they were calling him back into work and I wouldn't be able to spring my long-planned magical night of passion on him. Even so, I knew how important his work was to him, and I didn't want to get him into trouble with his boss. So I got up to grab his phone so I could take it to him. I'm not sure why I did what I did next. Whether it was some kind of intuition or just curiosity, but I peeked at the text he'd gotten, expecting to see some gruff demand that he report to work immediately to take care of some problem that had suddenly arisen. That's not what I saw. Instead, I saw a woman, young, pretty. She was wearing a red dress. In fact, she was wearing my red dress. My heart dropped in my chest. My stomach started turning flips. Surely there was some kind of mistake. This message couldn't have been intended for my husband. He wouldn't do such a thing. It just wasn't possible. But there she was, in my little red dress, smiling up at the camera, her eyes filled with the promise of an evening I couldn't hope to match. I don't know how to explain that weak, helpless pull in my gut. I felt humiliated just looking at her. It was like everything I wasn't had jumped into one body and taunted me. That's about the time my husband came back into the room and saw me standing there, holding his phone. I had no idea what to say. I sound so stupid now, but I blinked back my tears and held it out to him. "You got a text message." He took the phone and his face fell when he saw it. We limped back to the dinner table, but dinner was over, and the dream dinner I'd planned was a nightmare. "Why'd you do it?" And that's when he told me, "I love you, but I'm just not attracted to you anymore. It's just sex. Just sex." He sounded so apologetic, as if he was trying to make me feel better. He spent the night on the sofa, and I spent all night crying. He left without a word the next morning, and I didn't know if he was going to work or to meet her. I didn't even know her name, and I didn't want to. She was a threat to everything that was important to my life, and I felt powerless, like an old woman. I felt like a blade of grass trying to compete against the sun. I felt lost and alone, and over the next few weeks, as my husband continued to spend every night on the sofa, I retreated into myself. He didn't look miserable when I dared to look at him out of the corners of my eyes. He looked guilty, but he looked almost relieved to have it out in the open. There wasn't any relief to come for me. I gained weight, which only made my wrinkles and the bags under my eyes more pronounced. I stopped taking care of the house, stopped taking care of myself. One day I woke up just before noon and I realized I didn't even want to be in the world anymore. I just wanted to end it. If it wasn't for my daughter and my belief in God, I may just have right there and then. For someone who grew up very religious and went to church every Sunday without fail, that was a sickening feeling. I believe in God's word, everybody. Hell is real. And that temptation was white hot and it was terrifying. And it suddenly hit me, as I was asking God to help me with this awful flash in my mind, that I hadn't been to church for the past 3 weeks. I had been too busy pitying myself to even leave the house. I got myself cleaned up and shuffled to church. It was Wednesday service, but Pastor Williams and his wife would be there, and maybe they could help. Mrs. Williams invited me into the pastor's office, and the moment she closed the door, I just broke down. I hadn't gone planning on telling them everything, just enough to get some advice, but once I started talking, I couldn't stop. Every detail came pouring out, along with every dark suicidal thought I had been having over the past 3 weeks. About my husband, who'd I'd invested close to half my life into for nothing. About this woman, about myself, and about my family. When I had finished and cried out the last of my tears, we sat quietly together for a very long time. "Pray with me," he said, finally, and we did. After that, we sat and talked about other things for a while. I got caught up on the last comings and doings of the congregation, the buzz about town, and what the youth group had been doing. I felt a little better. And as I rose to leave, Pastor Williams stopped me and held up a copy of the Bible. "You're not the first woman to go through this, and you might be surprised at the comfort you can find inside the Bible." I smiled and nodded, and I said I would read from it when I got home, but in my heart, I really didn't plan to. I was listless the whole rest of the afternoon. I felt better, but I knew I needed a plan. I needed to do something. The first thing I needed to do was to decide how to respond to the threat that this other woman represented. Divorce? Separation? Kick him out of the house? Or try to make it work? I was lost. I had reached the limits of my own wisdom and understanding, so I just started at the beginning. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. I read all night, and it was like I was reading the words for the very first time. It was dazzling, so full of stories of hope, and the women. I hadn't remembered how many strong and beautiful women there were in the Bible. Bathsheba, the mother of King Solomon, had to have been a wily, politically savvy woman to have survived the political intrigues of her day. And she was obviously very attractive as well, to have had kings fighting for her affection even until her twilight years. Sarai, Abraham's wife, was another. She had a rather dark ending, being captured into a harem. But she was in her 60s or 70s when that happened. If she was attractive enough to be included in a harem at that age, she must have been doing something right. And then I found Sarah. Beautiful, strong Sarah. Not only was she a fierce, strong woman, a warrior in every sense of the word, she was also gorgeous. In fact, she was still turning heads in her late 90s. And the list of older, youthful, beautiful women just kept on going. That's when it got me thinking. How did these women do it? What made them both strong, youthful, and beautiful? And could I look up to these influential women from the Bible to help fight my own battle? I went back to church, and Pastor Williams set me up in his personal library. It was exhausting, but also thrilling in a way. You wouldn't think so, but sitting in a small room with poor lighting surrounded by dusty old books was exciting to me. I loved it. The process took months. But like I said, I'm a very driven person, and I had a purpose. I had to fight for not only my marriage. No, this was much more important than that. This was a fight for our family, our children, our life, and most importantly, our faith that we had built together in Christ. Although I started by reading the Bible, my research of ancient history took me well beyond that. Since Egypt played such an important role in so much of the Bible, I also studied Egyptian history as well. After all, so many Egyptian women were famed for their looks, and none was more famous than Queen Cleopatra herself, who managed to start a civil war between two of the most powerful Romans on earth at the time just to win her affection. That wasn't the only encouraging thing I'd come across during that time. My husband and our daughter were all living in the same house, but the two of us were separated in an emotional sense. And every moment that I wasn't at my job or going to sleep, I was at Pastor Williams' library researching. Mrs. Williams took the initiative to call me. The things she told me were mostly things I'd worked through in my head. My good pastor and his wife spoke to my husband, and he confessed to them that seeing me get older was making him feel older, that he wanted to put his charm to work on a younger girl to see if he still had it, that he'd taken me for granted in my deepest and most insecure moments. These things weren't surprising to hear, but they felt good, because at the end of the day he wanted to rebuild our relationship. But I wasn't just going to forgive him so easily and tell him anything committal yet. I don't think we were both equally to blame for his affair, because clearly it was his fault. But I was struggling with my own insecurities about aging. I wanted to do something amazing, to match the image in my mind with the image in my mirror. I still had work to do, and I was amazed at how much information there was out there. It was hard to come by, and I was amazed at how much information there was out there. It was hard to come by, and you had to read between the lines a little bit, but the deeper I looked, the more information I found. I was amassing quite a collection. What I discovered was that the secret of these women's beauty came down to 3 things: lifestyle, diet, and some amazingly simple skincare routines they performed using all natural ingredients. And I also found something else that was extremely interesting, which was referenced by non-canonical books about the Garden of Eden. I stumbled across a common youth secret that tied everything together. It was the beauty secret Delilah had used to transform herself from an unremarkable courtesan to one of the most sought-after women in the entire world, a woman that could sway the destiny of entire countries. It was the same method that Sarai, Abraham's wife, used to still look remarkable into her 60s and 70s, so much so that she was attractive enough to be included in a harem at that age, along with girls 50 years her junior. It was also used by Sarah, who was still turning heads in her late 90s. And when I cracked open a few obscure books on the habits of late Egypt, and found Cleopatra using the exact same set of ingredients under a different name thousands of years, I knew that I had stumbled across something massive. I then studied my notes carefully and gathered the few simple ingredients I needed, and was shocked to discover how inexpensive and readily available everything was. Big companies charge $50 for a little 2-ounce jar of their miracle cures to get rid of wrinkles and bags under your eyes, and most of the time they don't do anything. The few that actually work don't work very well, and here I was able to gather all the ingredients from my Bible studies for next to nothing. I gave it a try, and I remember being so nervous at first. What if it didn't work? What if I had wasted months of my life? I remember rushing to the bathroom mirror to check my progress several times a day. It seems silly now, looking back on it, because the truth is, I started seeing a difference almost overnight. By the end of the first 2 weeks, I swear I looked and felt 10 years younger. It was amazing. But I also thought that maybe I was fooling myself until I went to church the following Sunday. 6 different people said they barely recognized me. When my husband and I got home from church that afternoon, he broke down crying in my arms and told me he had ended things with Julie. I didn't know that was her name until right that second. He apologized to me 100 times and begged my forgiveness. I told him I'd have to work on that because trust had been lost. But as a Christian, my marriage and family was important to me. Deep down, I wanted to make things work. Slowly but surely, we started trying to patch things up and heal the rift that had grown between us, starting that very night. As things began improving at home, though, I didn't let up on my new beauty routine. I was hooked, and I wanted to see just how good and how effective it was. By the following week at church, I had almost a dozen women crowding around me, asking me what product I was using and where they could get some. I was giddy. Rather than explain the process verbally to everyone, I realized that I should write it all down. So I started doing that and decided that the women in my church would be my test group. I knew it worked for me, but what if it was a fluke? Turns out it wasn't, and before long, all the women at our church looked youthful and vibrant. I could hardly believe the transformation I was seeing right before my eyes, and that's when I knew I was onto something big. Mind you, most of these women were well into their 40s, 50s, and even 60s. To get results like this in a couple of weeks without resorting to invasive surgery, painful injections, or anything else like that almost seemed like a miracle. That's when one of the women from my fellowship started to give this biblically accurate, medically proven natural youth enhancement system the nickname of Youthful Genesis. We liked it so much that we decided to keep the name. What had started out as a quest to save my marriage had turned into a quest to help women of all ages look and feel years younger, not by using overpriced chemicals sold to them by corporate fat cats, but by using simple ingredients found in nature and used by the strongest and most beautiful women in the Bible. To make Youthful Genesis even more powerful, I even looked in a few scientific journals for some of the most powerful modern additions that didn't cost a lot of money and didn't have harsh side effects. Then it didn't take long for the Christian Health Science Institute to hear about Youthful Genesis. That's when they offered me a small grant to fast-track my research and facilitate with the clinical testing and first documented public trials of my method. This is when they conducted lab tests and scientifically verified that Youthful Genesis would 1. Replenish depleted collagen, 2. Rejuvenate skin cells, 3. Moisturize skin surfaces, 4. Heal and repair damaged cell structures, and 5. Much, much more. And all of this was done using natural ingredients derived from the Bible that contained antioxidant properties that directly address the root cause of skin aging. Unfortunately, I soon ran into an unexpected problem because it works a little too well, at least as far as the health and beauty industry is concerned. As word started to spread about Youthful Genesis, my little project caught the attention of the bigwigs in the industry, and they didn't like me or what I was doing. And that's when I started getting increasingly threatening letters, which I ignored. Then they kicked things up a notch. At this point, I have been ordered to take down the video presentation you are watching right now. It seems that I had attracted the attention of the beauty industry, and they see me as a threat to billions of dollars of profits each year. I don't want to take the site down, because so far, I've managed to help over 18,476 women in 17 countries. But they're threatening to take me to court. I don't know how long the site will remain active, but I will do everything I can to make sure it stays up as long as possible so that every woman who needs help like I did will have the opportunity to get it. What I like best about Youthful Genesis is that once you know how to do it, it's super simple to implement. There are not complicated formulas to remember and no expensive products to buy. It's just a collection of all natural items and ingredients that anyone can easily put their hands on. The result? A 100% natural deep tissue cream treatment that has been clinically tested and proven to repair, rejuvenate, and restore your skin's natural beauty. Best of all, Youthful Genesis relies on wisdom handed down to us from the Bible. Did I also tell you that it has been scientifically proven and verified by the researchers at the Christian Science Institute? I can confidently say that Youthful Genesis without a doubt works, because last year alone we treated more than 18,476 women in 17 countries. In fact, here's what a few of them had to say. Here's what Sarah M. from Connecticut had to say. Sarah M. attached these before and after photos. Hi, Leslie. My situation was like yours. My husband had that wandering eye syndrome that men get, and I was determined to find a way to keep his eyes firmly fixed on me. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I wasted trying just about every beauty product under the sun. Your method has been a real godsend, and I mean that both literally and figuratively. I started noticing a difference before the first week was up. And so did my husband. I'm happy to report that his eyes aren't wandering anywhere anymore. And here's a letter I got from Miriam B. in Michigan. Miriam B. attached these before and after photos. Leslie, I'm sure you get tons of letters like this and I don't know if you'll even see it, but I just had to write. When I purchased your method, I had to say that I didn't have high hopes. I'm 64 years old and had gotten used to my wrinkles, but I figured if there was a way to reduce them, then why not? Imagine my surprise when the wrinkles and crow's feet started to disappear. Now, I should tell you that your method didn't work in just a few days for me. It took about 2 weeks, but I don't think that was the fault of your method. So much it was that I had a lot of wrinkles to start with. I was amazed at the results, though. And it was funny. I was looking back through one of my old photo albums. There's a picture of me at age 32, and I swear my skin looks almost exactly like that now. I couldn't be happier. And yes, the report on getting rid of those liver spots works exactly as you promised it would too. This one from April R. in Manitoba. April R. attached these before and after photos. Hi, Leslie. I've been divorced for a number of years and have been too self-conscious to even think about going on dates. Before I found your website, I would look in the mirror and think, no man is ever going to want me looking like this. I felt hopeless. But after watching your presentation, I realized I wasn't. There were other women who were feeling the same despair, but they were doing something about it. Honestly, I was a little bit skeptical when I watched your presentation, because after all, I had read the Bible, and I hadn't noticed any beauty secrets. Am I glad I made the decision to take a chance on it, though? I've gained confidence, and you've helped me in ways I can't even express. God bless you. So as you can see for yourself, Youthful Genesis definitely works. Now, you might be wondering, how much does a system like this cost? Even with the resources and assistance of the Christian Science Institute, it took the better part of a year to compile this method and put everything together and test Youthful Genesis. Had I just paid myself minimum wage for all that time, it'd already be at least tens of thousands of dollars. But that's just silly, though. There's no way I'd ever charge anyone that much money, especially other fellow Christians. Having said that, I've seen at least one other program that promises similar results, selling for $997. That just seems like way too much to me. Besides, the point is to help as many women as possible, and I'm not in this to make a quick buck off you. That just isn't how we do things here at the Christian Science Institute. My husband said I should charge $299, but that still sounded like an awful lot of money to me. So I told him no. Several people at my church said they'd have happily paid $99 for access to the secrets, but times are hard for a lot of people, and I wouldn't feel right asking that much, or even $79 for the method I created. No, after several nights praying about it, I decided that what was fair was the one-time donation to the Christian Science Institute in the amount that you see on this page right now. As you can see, it's much cheaper than what you'd expect. All you have to do to get started is click on the donate button below, and we can begin the journey together. And because I am a Christian that stands by my word, I'm going to remove all the risk from you. Youthful Genesis comes with a 60-day, 100% money-back satisfaction guarantee. In fact, I encourage you to try it out for 2 months and see if it works for you, because the last thing I would want to do is ask you to pay for a placebo effect. That's not what I'm about. And that's why this comes with a no questions asked 60-day money-back guarantee. If you've spent weeks or months or longer feeling trapped inside the aging shell of your body and nothing has worked for you so far, I know how hard it can be to feel anything that even begins to resemble hope, because I have been in that situation too. I know how hard it is to try and rise above it, but I want you to close your eyes and picture your life just 2 weeks from now. Yes, in just 14 days after trying Youthful Genesis. Imagine how good you'll feel when your husband will be unable to take his hands off of you once again and beg for your attention once more. Imagine how confident you'll feel when you look in the mirror and notice a marked reduction in those crow's feet around your eyes that have been secretly tormenting you since you first noticed them. How much better you'll feel about yourself when the lines on your face begin to fade and then disappear altogether, without the need to use overpriced products produced by industry fat cats, instead relying from simple wisdom derived from the Bible itself. And think about those fat cats in the health and beauty industry for just a moment. Have you ever wondered why they don't work? I figured it out. The answer is simpler than you might think, and also a little terrifying. It's because they're not in the business of actually fixing your problem. Think about it. If a company sold a product that actually worked, if it actually made your wrinkles disappear like it promised, they'd go out of business before very long because nobody would need their product anymore. Genuinely fixing your problem is the last thing they want to do. All they're interested in is getting as much money as they can from you before you catch on to the game. That's why every few years they come out with a new and improved formula, which turns out to be no more effective than the old formula they sold you a few years back. That's why they're scared of this all-natural method, and why they're trying to shut down Youthful Genesis. Because what I'm offering is a simple, safe, all-natural, biblical solution to your problem. And if you take it, after just 14 days of implementing my methods and techniques, you won't need to purchase another beauty product mass-produced by the cosmetic industry ever again. You'll be like Sarah from the Bible, and Bathsheba, and Priscilla, Mary Magdalene, Jehosheba, Deborah, Ruth, Esther, Miriam, Sarai, and all those other bold, strong, beautiful women from the Bible. They will be your guiding light, just like they were for me. And as you discover the secrets and wisdom their lives reveal, you'll be amazed at the transformation in your own life. All that starts today, right now, in fact. You'll have instant access to everything you need to change your life forever, just by clicking on the donate button. Now, on top of that, I don't want there to be any question in your mind about that. So if you take action right now and try Youthful Genesis today, I'm going to throw in one-of-a-kind special reports to help you on this journey. Fast Action Bonus 1, Biblical Body Revitalization. Remember before, when I said the secrets I discovered came down to 3 things? Lifestyle, diet, and ancient skincare secrets? Well, this report covers the lifestyle and diet secrets. If you put the ideas in this book into practice, you'll not only look years younger, but you'll feel younger too. No more aches and pains, no more mystery ailments that keep you awake at night with worry. You'll walk with a spring in your step and be bursting with energy and vigor. You'll feel better than you felt when you were in your 20s. Fast Action Bonus 2, Ancient Christian Cures. People in the Bible lived a long time, from Moses, who died at 120, to Noah, who lived up to 950. Remember, they did this at an age where there was no modern medicine. So how did they do it? They lived a simple, healthy life and used herbal cures found in nature when they got sick. This report is your biblical passport to better health. Stop paying Big Pharma top dollar for drugs that have a list of side effects as long as your arm. Stop paying for expensive doctor visits and tests. With this report, you'll have all the tools you need to stay healthy for the rest of your life and cure whatever ails you using the tools that God has provided to us all. It's like we said before, big companies aren't designed to genuinely solve any problem you have. If they did, they would put themselves out of business. At best, then, all you can hope for from a big pharmaceutical company is a Band-Aid fix that temporarily masks whatever problem you're having. If you want a real cure, you'll have to find it yourself, and that's where this special report comes into play. Fast Action. There's Bonus 3, Biblical Bright Beauty. This is a little-known skin treatment from the Bible that will give your skin a healthy, vibrant glow. Instead, you'll learn dark spot correcting secrets, because almost everyone has or eventually develops those unsightly liver spots. And this special report will tell you exactly how to remove them forever. Also, you'll learn skin tightening techniques. This is every bit as important as getting rid of wrinkles, especially if you suffer from droopy face syndrome, or if you have lost a lot of weight rapidly, which can leave your skin loose and saggy. This report will teach you a variety of simple tricks to tighten and tone that skin, so it's looking young and healthy again. You get all that, plus free lifetime updates for just a single, one-time deposit of the price you see on this page. Unfortunately, this site will probably be shut down eventually. That's life, and I've made peace with that. But until that happens, my goal is to share these secrets with as many people as I can. That's why I'm so determined to provide this at the best value and quality. I will take all the risk on myself, leaving you with no risk at all. Remember, you can try Youthful Genesis today. Review everything, including all the bonuses for 60 days. And if you decide for any reason that it's just not right for you, you can send it back and I will refund 100% of your money. It will cost you nothing to give this method a try, and you'll start seeing results within days. That's win-win for you, and I can offer that kind of guarantee because I know it will work for you. I have no doubts at all. Just click on the button and try it for yourself. But remember, I can only help you so much. The next step has to be yours. God gave us free will for a reason. You are now at a crossroads with 3 different paths branching away from you. 3 very different options you can make. Option 1. Close this and forget you ever saw this presentation. Tell yourself it doesn't matter, or that you'll find another way. Surely if you keep trying enough of those expensive commercial products, one of them will work. But will they? And how much money will you have to spend to find one that does? Option 2. Close this window and try to retrace my steps. Cloister yourself away for at least a few years and pore through the Bible to find all the information yourself. It's all there. You might actually be able to recreate it yourself, but I guarantee you it will take a long time, and there's the time value of money to consider. Is that a good investment? Aren't there any other things you'd rather do with your life? And why would you want to reinvent the wheel anyway? Which brings us to Option 3. Simply make a one-time small donation to the Christian Science Institute and get instant access to Youthful Genesis. Everything has already been done for you and is laid out in a super easy-to-follow blueprint that will have you looking and feeling younger, just days after you read through and absorb the material. I hope you pick option 3. I would love to get an email from you 2 weeks from now with before and after pictures telling me about your success. See yourself looking at your own reflection in the mirror, and for the first time, in as long as you can remember, seeing no trace of the wrinkles you used to be so self-conscious about. How will you celebrate that event? Will you go buy yourself a new dress? Have an extravagant evening out on the town, enjoying all the admiring glances you get as men of all ages turn their heads and watch as you walk by? Will you bask in the adoring and appreciative gaze of your husband, enjoying the sight of him drinking you in with his eyes in a way he hasn't done in years? Just imagine how many changes you'll see in your life when you're no longer self-conscious and worried about those lines on your face and bags under your eyes. People have probably tried to help you feel better by calling them character lines or some other such nonsense, and while well-meaning phrases like that might help a little, those platitudes can't compare to looking in the mirror and seeing the younger version of yourself. Not seeing any traces of the wrinkles that used to keep you up late at night, worrying about them, that's the journey you're standing on the threshold of right now. That's where you could be just 2 weeks. In fact, if you're like most people, you'll start seeing results in just a matter of days. No more expensive creams to buy, no more self-doubt, no more soul-crushing desperation. Just a confident, glowing new you who looks and feels years younger. Just give Youthful Genesis a try and bring this Bible-based therapy to your face and skin. I'll see you on the other side.